Hey everyone, welcome back to Analogue, a hate story. I don't know if it's obvious, but I just woke up. So, Black 4, let's go. Alright, Smith. Oh dearest brother of mine, as I'm sure you know, it's been 3 years since my husband died. I still mourn him in my heart, of course, and I'm sure I will forever, yet the official mourning period's over. You probably also know the Huang family isn't doing very well right now. Terribly, in fact. And it only got worse when my husband died. It didn't help that we only had daughters, so I don't exactly have a son to look after me. Right now I'm completely at the mercy of his parents. And well, as I said, no son. They only took me in because of that big dowry. They sure never liked me, and it's only gotten worse. Way worse. So I need you to help me out, Mean, or they're going to just abandon me. Do you remember that story we read together as a child, about that widow who had to turn to begging? I'm sure you remember how it ended. Well, that's going to be me at this rate. Don't worry though, I have a plan. I talked to my husband's brother about this, and I also managed to discreetly fish some information out of his parents. They'd be willing to let me get married to him, and all you need to do is chip in a new dowry. 1.5 times the old would be enough. Please respond as soon as possible, little brother, because I really need your help here. What a crappy situation. Sister Songi, calm down. They may not be nice, but I'm sure they're not going to kick their son's widow out on the street. Do you have any idea how terrible that would look for them? It would be a huge disgrace on their name. As for remarrying, I'm sorry, but that's a lot of money you're asking. Besides, you know how much remarriage is looked down upon. Chaste widowhood may be a difficult standard to hold yourself to, but you'll be honored forever if you can manage it. And if anyone is good enough to live up to that standard, I know it's you, big sister. I wish I could give you an easier way out, but I hope you realize it's for the best that way. Dang. It's hard to tell who's playing who here. Oh, generous and benevolent young brother of mine. I know you think I'm being hysterical and exaggerating. I'm not, I promise. It's funny you mention the importance of chaste widowhood, because they're talking about that, too. Of course, I don't think you've got the same ideas in mind. They're talking about the sort that ends in honorable suicide. Actually, they've been talking about it a lot. We could, of course, go with that option. Take my own life to honor his memory. Would you like to help me out with that? I'm not really very good at either holding knives or tying nooses ever since the arthritis got serious. But if you could help out, that plan could work. Oof. If you're too busy to help your sister kill herself though, you could just do the next best thing and send that dowry. I'm sure somehow you'll manage to figure out a way to find the money. I have faith in you, little brother. I remind you again, of course, that appealing to that family's honor is a waste of time. Father married me to a merchant, remember? You're talking about honor, but trust me, I've lived in this house for over 2 decades and I've looked everywhere, even under the sitting cushions. They just don't have any. So I'm going to ask you once more, little brother. You can either send a new dowry, or, failing that, come by with a nice sharp knife. But if you can't bring yourself to do at least one of those things, then my destitution is on your head. Do you think Father would be proud of that? You're the son, you tell me. With love, your sister Songi. I wonder what these numbers up in the corner are. Sister, you are going to be the death of me, but I won't be the death of you. Fine, I'll figure something out. Tell his parents that I can offer them as much as the old dowry. I'll send a messenger by next week to work out the delivery of it. You're such a woman, do you know that? Manipulative to the core, that's what you are. The death of me, I swear. What a shit. But again, I don't know how much she is exaggerating. Block 9. The new wife. My new wife moved in last week, and she's been pestering me ever since. Everywhere I go in the house, she's either following me or waiting outside the door. The first time it happened, it unnerved me like nobody would believe. In the most recent time, I'd stopped being unnerved and moved on to just plain annoyed. I only had one thought. Why won't this silly girl just give me some peace? No wonder her parents were so anxious to send her to our home. Hours before, she'd been hanging around in the room. I finally kicked her out when the mathematics tutor arrived. The session went without any hitch, aside from reminding me just how much I hate the damn subject. And after a few hours, he left. And who's kneeling right outside my door? It's her, of course. Have you been there the whole time? I asked her. Of course she had. For the love of... We need to talk. So I brought her back in and set her down at the desk. Wait, what is this? You're driving me insane. I don't have the time to be babysitting you constantly, I said. I wasn't angry, just annoyed. But she looked alarmed all the same. For a moment, I was worried she was going to start crying. Instead, she just turned her head away. Do you hate me? She asked. Women! Why must they be so damn emotional? I reminded myself that I was talking to a female. I needed to approach this differently. Look, I said, you're very pretty. I appreciate that you're trying. So no, of course I don't hate you. She looked back at me, seeming like she was holding back tears. Then why don't you need me for anything? Is there nothing I can do for you? No, not unless you can help me study the classics. She looked down. Right now, nothing is more important to me than passing the civil service exam. Can you even read? A little, she said. A little isn't enough, I replied. What if I sat in on your lessons? I could learn more. I'd be quiet, of course, please. I was about to say no, then I changed my mind and agreed when I heard her next line. At least give me a chance to earn your approval, please? Wow, that's what it took to change your mind? Ugh. Oh, I didn't really know anything about this Kim Young-suk. I only knew about men who are actually of some importance. I don't have anything I can help you there. Sorry. I forgive you, Mute. On the 13th day, Young-suk finally passed his civil service exam. Otherwise, the final month of 318th year was without event. Wait. Yeah, read that one. Dearest Mother, it seems as though there will be a new girl in the family. I don't really understand the details, but her name is the Pale Bride. It seems as though she's a 13-year-old girl who had been kept inside an giant egg through some sort of magical technology passed through the Kim family over the generations. As I said, I don't understand how such a thing is possible, but she seems nice enough. Young-suk seems quite annoyed at her arrival, however. He explained to me why. The plan is to offer her as a concubine to the Emperor. She's young and beautiful, and he's still without a son, so it'll probably go a long way in currying favor. Favor? That's bad? I asked him. Not strictly, he admitted, but it means Father doesn't have much faith in me, if he's making contingency plans that don't require my involvement. Now we'll never know if my success was on my own merits, or because the Emperor thinks the girl he'll give him is cute. Did you even tell him your plan of working your way to becoming a High Magistrate? If he knows that, how can he think a contingency is necessary? Good question, he said, and left the room looking annoyed. To this date, these worries of his still seem to plague him, and I can't seem to do anything to relieve him of that. Indeed. A new bruise. Dearest Mother, I really could use your advice. Husband has been working very late into the night recently on some business that he won't even share with me. I understand his reluctance to talk to me about things his superior has sworn into secrecy on, and that damn child has been keeping me plenty busy anyway, but I still wish he could tell me. Last night, he was out even later than normal, and when he finally did return, he had a black eye, his face and hands bloodied. He looked really bad. The sight of that really scared me. Of course, you of all people know that I'm hardly squeamish at the sight of blood. It was how hurt he looked. I hurried him to the kitchen and started to clean his wounds. I'll admit my voice wavered when I asked, Husband, what happened? He was reluctant to answer, and grunted in pain when I convinced him to put ice on his bruised eye. He finally did, and you absolutely can't repeat what he said to me, do you understand? Not a word of it to anyone, not even to Father. but I truly need advice. I had some questions for the High Magistrate's office. He sent his brother, Smith's on cue, to answer them. That's the dumb, nasty one. My husband trailed off, thinking. I asked him something that he didn't agree with. I had the moral high standing, but he had the physical high standing. His wound's clean. I didn't know what to do, but I touched the uninjured part of his face to comfort him. Then he joked. Turns out, his argument hurt a whole lot more than mine. But I could tell, underneath that, he was truly hurt. What do I do, Mother? How is a woman supposed to respond to such an awful thing happening? I tried to comfort him as best I can, but I just don't know what else I can do, Mother. Please, you must have some advice. Wow, that is awesome, Miss Stoat. I would say that it doesn't really matter, because they all end up dying anyway, but what you say? So, like, you talked to her a fair bit, right? What do you think of Hyune? I don't hate her. Seriously? You can stand her? Did she tell you about the whole mass murder thing, or did she conveniently leave that out? She didn't tell me. No, of course not. I'm sure even that awful bitch is ashamed of what she did. Or maybe she just wanted to impress you. I don't think most men are turned on by that kind of lunacy, so I can see why she'd hide that. Pro tip, I don't get bonus for AI anyway. It's probably better if you don't hear it from me, though. I don't think you'd even believe it. Better to ask you yourself. Okay, so what I'm going to do is give you an entire block that's full of nothing but questions for her. It might be a little hard to get the whole story out of her, but if you fake sympathy, she'll probably actually believe you. So there you are, a few questions to give to her. Drag the truth out of her, then tell me how crazy you think she is. I guess we have a goal, but I'm going to go through the rest of these just to see if Mute has anything else to say. She has something to say about the Ryu family. So, you want to talk about Queen Ryu Jawa, huh? She was kind of more than just my queen. I guess I had to explain my own position for it to make sense. So, I appear to be just a woman, but that's my personal appearance. I'm actually, a computer program. So when I say I still am really, in charge of security for the whole ship, I mean it. I was an actual official. I outranked pretty much everyone on the ship save for the Emperor, and of course, by extension, his primary wife. So while I might have reported directly to the Emperor in theory, and I did with others in the past, Emperor Ryu Inho chose to let that sort of thing go to his wife instead. What this is all getting at is, for all intents and purposes, she was my real mistress, not him. We were pretty close. Well, as close as you can be to your better, anyway. I liked her a lot. She was actually really intelligent for a woman. Oh, thank you. And was surprisingly tough for a noble. I know, that doesn't really sound attractive. But trust me, with her, it was pretty okay. She managed to be great while still knowing her place. Wow. So yeah, like I said, I liked her a lot. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. This is my point. I remember those admonitions because I actually helped her write them. I mean, I didn't write a single word or anything, but she asked me for advice. Mostly she was just modest. So, let me see. I really want you to get the right impression of her, She kind of wrote a lot. Well, nobody's perfect. Don't let that cloud your judgment of her, though, alright? I mean, I'm not impressed either, but at least it means you'll be able to see what she was like. Alright, I've got 3 for you to see. One's kind of actually about me, but still. It shows you just how good of a person she was. If you want to see the rest of the admonitions, let me know. I can do that too. Before we get to the questions, we're going to do this. My fear of the pale bride, it seems, was unfounded. In my letters to her I wrote that I was not jealous. A lie, of course. As a queen, it is true that I had the authority over any of my husband's other wives, but that authority does certainly not extend to his affections, especially since she is a beautiful woman of only 15 years, and I am a withered old lady 20 years her senior. I would be a fool not to be jealous. And yet I am not. Until she officially married my husband, I had only seen her briefly at the formal interview. Aside from her beauty, she had made hardly any impression, but now she is living in my house, and I have seen more of her while she is not busy tending to the emperor, and I realize now I have no cause for jealousy that is any fault of hers. Wow. Finish your sentences. Use your words. You can do this. She hasn't spoken a single word to me, and only looks at me from a distance. At first, I mistook this for arrogance, as though she thought me unworthy of approaching. I realized soon that is not so. I see no smugness in her eyes, nor do I see happiness, nor sadness, nor anything else. She is afraid of me, not the sort of fear that would show in her eyes, the sort of fear that would paralyze or leave her on edge. It's hardly noticeable at all, and yet I can tell. Her fear is that of resignation, the sort of fear where one simply waits for what one believes inevitable, whatever it is she thinks it will do to her. She is not afraid that I will be jealous. She knows it, and is simply waiting for the consequences. I cannot be jealous of a woman like that. I feel for her. I want her to feel welcome. I want to give her the hope she has clearly lost back. It is not out of jealousy that I say I earnestly want her to understand how lucky she is. When I last saw her, I took her aside and said, "Please, you do not have to fear me. If you ever wish to talk to me, please, do find me." She said nothing, but she did smile a little. I have seen her smile before, but only in a hollow way, where the mouth moves but no emotion stirs in her eyes. This was not that kind. I can hardly say what the twinkle in her eyes meant, but at least I don't think it was resignation. I do hope she talks to me soon, for her sake. How do I find the rest of the admonitions? Morning dress. Normally, my conversations with you are of a rather frivolous nature. Gossip in the affairs of some of the more important noble houses, as well as her trying to bait whatever she is able out of me. While I think such a flow of information is valuable, so I might pass news to my husband that he might not otherwise hear, I would not consider her attitude to have any resemblance to seriousness. Previously, I had assumed that this was simply impossible due to her nature. While I do not really understand how, despite her explanations, anyone could live inside a computer screen, she says that she is an artificial person. I assumed that perhaps her absence of a soul prevented her from feeling serious emotions. Ordinarily, she wears incredibly bold, colorful clothing, her golden hair absurdly well adorned. For the past month, however, she has been uncharacteristically humble, wearing unappealing brown dress with her hair undecorated. My curiosity got the better of me at last. "Please, I have wondered, why are you so attired?" "It isn't like you," I asked. She gave me an odd look. "Huh?" she asked. "It's morning dress." That much was obvious, and not particularly the thrust of my question. "Did you not tell me you were thousands of years old, and that you have no family? For what reason are you wearing mourning?" She gave me an annoyed look. "A friend of mine died, okay? No, I don't have a family. It's always been just me. But this guy was a really good friend, and definitely deserves that kind of respect," she said. "We were super close." "Do you wish to tell me about him?" I asked. She gave me another look that I couldn't quite read. It seemed somehow sad. "Nah," she said. "I don't want to talk about it. Not now. I miss him too much. Hey, I'm going to go now, okay? I'll talk to you later." I said goodbye to her, and she disappeared from the computer screen. But as she did, I could have sworn that I saw her start to cry. Look, I don't want to talk about it, okay? It's personal. I'm sorry. Alright. I guess the only thing left is each questions. How are you doing? Look, the questions are for her. They're perfectly straightforward. I don't think any need explanation. Take them to yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. It's probably best if you hear it straight from the crazy bitch's mouth herself. Maybe. How do you feel about me? Wait. Okay, so I can't but notice that you haven't gone back to Q&A to get the whole story about the murders. Why is that? Is it because you don't believe me even enough to ask her? No. Oh, well, that's good. Do you think it's just not important enough to go ask her then? No? Oh, okay. I was hoping you'd say that, honestly. All I can think of is, and you'd rather hear it from me, am I right? No. Then I'm completely confused, but okay. If you do want to hear about it from me, though, you can indicate that just by showing me the question that I gave you. Otherwise, just feel free to go about business however you will, I guess. I only asked you about it because this thing is still activated. Why don't you treat me with more respect? What do you really look like? How old are you? How do you feel about mute? Why couldn't you just settle for a happy marriage? Did you ever have any friends? Why did you kill all those people? Those are good questions to ask. And we're gonna do it tomorrow. So I'll see you then, and we'll see what Hyune has to say. Bye.